Alright, Geordie Prepper here. Hope you're doing well. Lots going on, so keep up the checking of your preps. The next month of Check Your Preps will be this September. At the moment, I'm rotating my food stores. On to the news now. News from Russia. President Vladimir Putin issues a stern warning today, vowing to destroy any US-made F-16 fighter jets destined for Ukraine, just as Russia has obliterated other Western military equipment in the past. Putin's declaration follows several NATO member states' pledge to donate F-16 to Kiev. However, Russia firmly warns that deploying these nuclear-capable jets would dangerously escalate the conflict in the Ukraine. Even F-16s operated by Ukrainian pilots from third-party countries are not exempt from Russia's sights. President Putin emphasizes that such jets become legitimate targets, regardless of the location. Notably, Putin's underscoring Russia's awareness of the F-16's nuclear capabilities, promising to factor this into future combat operations, as Ukraine faces dwindling air force resources, including Soviet-era jets. The F-16s stand as a critical lifeline. With tensions escalating and the spectre of conflict looming, the fate of these F-16s hangs in the balance. Will Ukraine receive the reinforcements it desperately seeks? Or will Putin's warning cast a shadow over the region's skies? We'll have to see how this plays out. If Russia does make good on its threat and downs an F-16 in a NATO country, then that would give NATO all the excuse it needs to escalate. I think Russia will have 2 or 3 options. Deal a massive strike or strikes on Ukraine airfields so that no F-16 can even land there, forcing NATO to have a red herring, essentially, on the tarmacs. Shoot F-16s whilst inside Ukraine, initially to prove that they can do it. This would mean that they don't provoke NATO too much, and it would give them what they want whilst still maintaining the F-16's legitimate target priority over the active war zone. Nextly, Israel has once again conducted airstrikes in Syria. The airstrikes hit Syria's Aleppo province, resulting in over 40 casualties, mostly soldiers, according to reports from the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights and from Reuters. The strikes occurred around 1:45 AM, assuming that's local time, targeting multiple areas in Aleppo's countryside, including a weapons depot near Aleppo International Airport, resulting in significant explosions and casualties among Syrian soldiers and possibly Hezbollah fighters. Israel's attacks in Syria, which have escalated recently, aim to weaken Hezbollah's capabilities and send a clear message of resolve amidst international criticism over its policies, including recent rulings regarding Gaza. International response has been a bit lacking, obviously because Israel's targeting Hezbollah, which isn't that popular with the majority of countries, Western-backed countries. Iran, though, it condemned the strikes as a violation of international law and Syria's sovereignty, emphasizing the threat they pose to regional peace and security. They are clearly escalating matters against Hezbollah. It's just a matter of time before full-scale conflict initially localized to the border erupts. Of course, there are always 2 or more sides to a story, and it's not only Israel targeting Hezbollah personnel and positions. Hezbollah is responding in kind, which only increases further the possibility of a major conflict in the area. Some things which happened recently. Hezbollah launched multiple rockets at northern Israel, triggering rocket sirens and prompting IDF shelling in response. 2 rockets hit Shalomi and Goran, causing property damage, but no injuries were reported. Israel Defense Forces conducted a surprise drill aimed at preparing for war in the north, involving all IDF commands and wings. A Patriot missile intercepted a suspicious aerial target from Lebanon, with 1 missile exploding over northern Israel. Alleged Israeli airstrikes near Damascus, Syria, injured 2 people and caused material losses in a residential building. UN expresses concern over attacks over healthcare facilities following strikes blamed on Israel in Lebanon. Hezbollah responds to Israeli strikes with rocket barrages, killing a civilian in Kiryat Shmona. Since October 8th, skirmishes on the border have resulted in civilian and military casualties on both sides. So this isn't a border skirmish or skirmish which is going to go away anytime soon. If anything, it's escalating. So International Court of Justice next, that's part of the UN. It's ordered Israel to ensure food supplies to Gaza. In a landmark ruling, the International Court of Justice has ordered Israel to take immediate action to address the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The ICJ unanimously ordered Israel to ensure basic food supplies to Gaza's Palestinian population, citing the dire famine conditions. The ruling builds on the ICJ's January verdict, which called for measures to prevent genocide and preserve evidence. The court observed that Palestinians in Gaza are no longer at risk of famine, but are already facing it, highlighting the urgency of the situation. The ruling follows ongoing clashes between Israeli forces and Palestinian fighters around Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital. While welcomed by Hamas, the ruling falls short of a demand for an immediate ceasefire, emphasizing the need to end the military offensive to alleviate suffering. Despite Israel's assurances of humanitarian efforts, over 1.1 million people in Gaza face extreme food insecurity, according to the UN. With access impediments persisting, time is running out to save lives, especially in Gaza's northern areas. The death toll due to famine and lack of medical treatment continues to rise, underscoring the critical need for immediate intervention. As tensions escalate, the ICJ's ruling serves as a crucial call to action to address the humanitarian crisis in Gaza before it's too late. Next, we're looking at what Russia's just done for North Korea. Russia's veto of a UN resolution renewing an expert panel investigating North Korea's sanctions violations raises concerns amidst its alleged reliance on Pyongyang's munitions. Facing international isolation and ammunition shortages, Russia, which is embroiled in the Ukraine conflict, leans on North Korea for arms supplies, straining UN sanctions. Kim Jong-un's rule, bolstered by Russia's backing, defies sanctions and becomes a major arms supplier to Putin's and Russia's special military operation, even as it faces global censure. The Security Council's failed resolution highlights Russia's opposition to the expert panel's continuation, jeopardizing global non-proliferation efforts. The veto draws criticism from allies and adversaries alike, questioning Russia's commitment to global security and non-proliferation efforts. The veto ruling has implications for regional stability and international security. So essentially, they're just not happy that they vetoed it. And they don't have to throw a tantrum when they don't get their way. Next, we're looking at the fact that India might possibly believe in the BRICS. Balancing geopolitics and economic growth at the minute. So it would seem that things that India produces, probably a lot of other services that it exports, it's trying to do that to nations which are basically fighting its allies in the BRICS. And because of its association in the BRICS with these other countries, it would seem that it's finding it hard to export these products and services. So there's talk that India might believe in the BRICS. India's potential exit from the BRICS signals a pivotal moment in its geopolitical strategy. So there's some key points here. Despite BRICS' expansion and inclusion of heavyweight voices like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, tensions brewed within the original fellowship. Of course, the eye of BRICS is India, particularly concerning India's role. Sanctions on Russia exacerbated these tensions, highlighting fault lines within the group. An intricate oil deal between Russia and India aimed at bypassing Western sanctions turned contentious when Russia proposed compensations in Chinese yuan. India's decision to purchase oil from the US further complicated matters, straining the relationship with traditional BRICS partners. So the BRICS is trying to dump the dollar, and then India's, obviously, by trading with the United States is going to insist that it's done in dollars. So that goes against the BRICS vision. India's economy shows robust growth, with forecasts by S&P Global and Moody's painting an optimistic picture. Strong domestic demand and an uptick in exports drive growth, though challenges like restrictive interest rates and regulatory measures persist. As the country grapples with balancing its allegiance to BRICS and its warming relations with the West, navigating this complex geopolitical landscape while sustaining economic growth poses multifaceted challenges for the nation. Navigating this intricate dance between geopolitics and economic prosperity will be tricky. Its decisions will shape not only its own trajectory, but also the dynamics of global alliances. There's also the possibility that others follow the course, and other nations fill its gap, should it eventually leave. There are many countries that are finding the BRICS a very attractive alternative right now. Alright, so that's the conclusion to today's news video. Be safe, be prepared guys. Don't forget to keep checking those preps. And I'll see you in the next one.